So let me start with honesty. I wasn't even supposed to be recording a video this week. I told y'all that I was taking Thanksgiving week off, and I meant that. But the art world said, Mariah, go get on that camera, because way too much happened last week and this week. A painting just sold for $236.4 million in a year where so many people can't even afford groceries. And we need to talk about what that actually means. And let me tell you something, that wasn't even the only thing that happened. A Frida Kahlo self-portrait sold for $54.7 million. And that broke the auction record for any woman artist. Too much happened for me to stay quiet. So in the next few minutes, I'm gonna break down why these sales even happened and what they could be signaling about the art market, and what this moment could mean for artists, for myself, for collectors, for gallerists, and also for curators trying to understand, where are we landing? Where are we? Where is the 2026 art world heading? Let's get into it. Those of y'all that are new here, I'm Mariah Elisabeth, and this channel is about talking about the nuances of the art world in a very down-to-earth way. So if you don't know what happened, a few days ago, Gustav Klimt's portrait of Elisabeth Lederer came up at Sotheby's. And if you watch that auction, you could really just feel the wealth in the room before the bidding even started. That auction opened up at $130 million. Not 20 million, not 50 million. And I'm saying that as if 20 and 50 million isn't a lot, but 130 million. And that was just the starting point. From there, it moved with this kind of energy that you will only see when extremely wealthy people are negotiating with each other. So it wasn't chaotic. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even wild. Even when we're talking about $130 million, it was none of these things. It was slow, it was steady, it was careful, and it was very, very confident. The way these people move, numbers don't shake them. It went 200 million, 202 million, 205 million. And then one bidder was like, okay, I'm hanging up the phone, and then went the hammer. Final total with fees, $236.4 million. The highest price ever paid for a work of modern art at auction. That's crazy. Now, we need to talk about this painting, I want to say in the right way. Who is this woman in the painting? Who is Elisabeth Lederer? She wasn't a model. She wasn't a celebrity. She wasn't someone Klimt grabbed for a commission. She was the daughter of August and Serena Lederer, who was one of Klimt's closest patron families. They were people who believed in his work. They supported him financially. They supported him culturally. They were a part of his world. You guys know what a patron is. Well, they were at the highest tier of what a patron can be. The Lederers were a part of that vibrant Jewish cultural community in Vienna. It was a world of music and conversation and intellectual life. It was style, ideas flowing, curiosity. And this portrait came out of that world. So it wasn't just a commission. It was a relationship. It was a portrait that was built from this kind of intimacy that forms when a family really trusts an artist with their legacy, with their daughter. A world that was soon targeted for deconstruction. When the Nazis came down, the Lederer family lost their home. They lost their art. They lost their safety. They lost their community. And this painting lived through all of that. The painting was seized. It was displaced. And eventually it was restituted to Elisabeth's brother, who is Eric Lederer, and that happened in 1948. This painting carries a really emotional history of survival and return. And when you look at Elisabeth Lederer, you're looking at a world that was meant to be erased, but it couldn't be, and it wasn't. Through this painting, that is part of why this painting commands a number like 236 million because of its background, because of where it came from, because of the story. Now, I want to jump to more recent times and talk about who owned it the last however many years. So I want to talk about something people underestimate when they look at auction results, and that's provenance. Who owned it matters a lot. And in this case, that ownership was Leonard A. Lauder. And when I say Lauder, I mean from the lineage of Estee Lauder. Get into it, okay? This painting didn't just survive war and restitution. It eventually became a part of one of the most respected private collections in the entire world. Leonard Lauder didn't collect casually. He was very well known, and he collected with intention, with direction, with discipline, and with a sense of cultural responsibility. He wasn't a flipper. He wasn't just acquiring for status. He didn't need that. His family was nothing but status. He was building an ecosystem. This is someone who shaped the Whitney Museum for decades, not from any type of sideline, but really from the inside. And he did the work to be on the inside, from what I understand. He didn't just donate art, he donated his vision, he poured into it. Lauder understood the role that art plays in shaping a nation's cultural memory, and he understood how stewardship really works. When a painting enters a collection like his, it's not being purchased, it's being adopted into a lineage that he is already building. So when collectors see provenance, Leonard Lauder, they don't just see, oh, this was a part of his collection. They don't just see ownership. They see trust, they see value, they see research, they see care, they see financial integrity, they see institutional relationships, they see impeccable preservation, and a level of connoisseurship that money alone cannot buy. What this does is signal that this painting wasn't just held, it was honored. And these type of collectors move differently when they're acquiring something with that kind of history behind it. Look, acquiring from Lauder's collection isn't just any type of transaction. It is really a continuation of a cultural legacy. And I want to point this out in case you're listening and you don't know, in case you haven't taken your phone and looked up this man yet and you don't know that he's passed away. It's really important to know that he passed away earlier this year, because when a major collector dies, there is this really quiet shift in the ecosystem, because you know what could be coming next. You know that certain works that were locked away for decades suddenly enter the market with this gravity that just can't be replicated. This Klimt didn't appear because someone needed liquidity. It appeared because a chapter in American art collecting closed and another one opened. So yes, the painting is very rare. The story is really powerful. Yes, the restitution adds weight, but Lauder's provenance, that is also an anchor. And it's one of the biggest reasons the bidding moved the way that it did. It wasn't loud or emotional or chaotic. It was confident. And it was people going after what they wanted and willing to spend however much that takes. That comes from knowing exactly where this painting has been and who has cared for it, which is the job of the collector. Because in the art world, pedigree is, I would say, power. And this painting had one of the strongest pedigrees that you could ask for. To break this down simply, why did this painting hit the price that it hit? Well, there are Klimt portraits. There are important Klimt portraits. And then there's the portrait of Elisabeth Lederer. Why did this painting reach that number? Because the late Klimt portraits are nearly impossible to acquire. Most of them belong to museums, foundations, or they're locked away in these type of collections. Number two, The Lederer family were central to Klimt's life. This was someone from his inner circle, not just this distant person sitting for a portrait. Another reason, provenance. It was seized, it was restituted, it was recovered. You cannot create that, and you can't recreate a story like that. That history is built into the value of the painting. And also, the Lauder provenance amplifies everything. Leonard Lauder acquired that painting in 1985, and it hung over his dining room table for decades. And also, again, he passed away this year. His collection going into market, man, that's a kind of cultural legitimacy that you really just can't buy. So when you have extreme rarity plus survival plus provenance plus Lauder plus a generational sale, something that will never happen again, this was history. And it was history that was moving, that was transferring from one hand to the next. Okay, when I make videos like this, the number one conversation that happens in the comments is, oh, they're money laundering. Is this money laundering? Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Whenever people see a number like $236 million, they assume that it's money laundering. And I get it. I see it in every single comment section. I'm probably still gonna see it. So I want to break this down. Now, mind y'all, I don't know everything. Okay, I don't have $236 million to spend, so I don't know their rules all the way. But I'm gonna just kind of break down my perspective, what I think, what I've learned, and dump it on y'all. First of all, let's answer the question: can art be used for money laundering? Historically, I mean, yeah. In certain private, unregulated contexts, yeah. Is that what this was? I don't think so. We're talking about a restituted Klimt from the Lauder Collection, sold publicly with global scrutiny. That's not really the perfect scenario to launder. Let's talk about what could be true. Ultra wealthy people, I don't believe, buy paintings like this to launder money. They buy them to move money. Art stores value, so it's more discreet than cash. Art transfers wealth through generations, legally and quietly. Art moves across borders differently than capital. Art buys cultural capital. We're talking about boards, influence, we're talking about legacy. So I don't think this was scandalous. I think it was strategic. Yeah, it was strategy. So we're going to pause on the Klimt sale for a second because I have to address the fact that a few days before the Klimt sale, Frida Kahlo's self-portrait El Suena, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, it sold for $54.7 million. And that is breaking the auction record for any woman artist. That matters a lot. And it matters because Kahlo rarely even appears on the market. And if you know anything about her, which I'm sure you do, self-portraits are her most coveted category, right? And few works are even legally exported from Mexico. That means something. The fact that it sold for $54 million. Its cultural value is finally being recognized at scale. And I mean, I think that she's definitely always recognized. I mean, I live in Texas, so she's definitely recognized here. We love Frida Kahlo like we love Selena. I'm not going to go too deep into Frida. I just wanted to let y'all know about that sale. If you do want to know more about that, I don't know when I'm going to have time to do it, but let me know in the comments. If enough of y'all say, yeah, let's talk about this Frida sale, then we can talk about it. So let's think together about what this all could say about the 2025 market. And I want to kind of just zoom out because 2025 has been a year that has been cautiously optimistic and it hasn't been defined by anything fanatic. But again, like I said in my last video, what you could check out here above, or maybe here, I don't know, about what this market in 2025, what it actually looked like. I mean, I think it was a moment of searching for clarity. So here's what we're seeing. The top of the market is still strong. Okay. I also spoke in the last video about how there haven't been like crazy headlines. And after I recorded that video, literally the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, it was like crazy headlines, like back to back to back to back to back. And I think it's making people feel like, oh, the art world is back on track and we're betting out. No, I don't really think so. I mean, look, I don't think so. Okay. I think everything that I said about we have to be cautious. I think everything that I said about searching for clarity and making sure that you're clear about who you are as an artist and a collector and doing things deeply instead of fast and fanatic, I think those things are still true. I don't want these crazy numbers because they're insane. They're numbers that we can't think of. 236 million, like that's only billionaires can think about numbers like that. And that is so top of market. That's not 99.9% of the market. So I don't think that shakes the market that a lot of us are thinking about. The middle of the market is still a little softer. Even some of the blue chip works are not meeting expectations. I don't think we need to let this shatter us and get us all shaken up. And I also don't know what's going to happen at Art Basel. I don't know. And the end of the year could be the strongest point of the year. And it could give people confidence and get people excited to jolt into next year. And maybe the energy of next year will change because of how the way this year at the end is ending. But at the end of the day, I do believe that we still are in a market of clarity. Do not start making decisions based off of these incredible numbers or these crazy sales that we could possibly see at Basel. I still think that collectors are being selective and they're choosing fewer works with deeper meaning, and that galleries are still moving with precision. And I think those things combined, that's what's gonna make it feel robust again. Man, look, we are in what folks call a barbell market. Okay, we are strong at the top. We're active on the emerging end. We're a little thin in the middle. We're not too crazy, not too chaotic. We're just clear. We're clear. And that's what we need to continue to be. Be clear. So artists, this moment isn't telling you to chase a record, because it might be totally doable. And somebody watching this, it might happen for them one day. Okay. So I am a dreamer. I am a believer. I am delusional as they come. So I'm never going to say, no, that's not going to happen for you. I'm not, because I believe in the story of people becoming and them being just normal people and them becoming these things. I believe in the bigness of that. But this moment isn't telling all of you to chase a record. It's telling you to build your foundation. Even if you're the artist that becomes that story about this painting we just talked about, it's story, it's provenance, and it's something that can't be even planned. Your provenance starts now. Your archive starts now. Your documentation starts now. That's what you should take from this. Your clarity starts now. The story people are paying for later starts now. That's what you take from this. It's the story that you're building today that's going to matter tomorrow. What should collectors take from this? Well, this is a year to collect with intention. And I think next year is going to be a year. I think every year is a year to collect with intention, right? Focus on meaning. Where do things come from? What do they mean? What story are they telling? What is their cultural significance? How do you connect with the story, the history, the provenance? Are you aligned? And also, is there a long-term vision in your collecting philosophy that the paintings or the artworks that you're collecting fit into? The Klimt sale is a reminder that real collecting is stewardship. And so we've seen it from all different levels, from the patrons to the collectors to the artists to the sitter, right? I mean, it's all stewardship. And also what I believe collectors and galleries should take from this is the same things: clear identity, fewer but stronger shows. I think galleries should take a look at this year and say, we need to be realistic and honest about what our pacing could be. We need to have deep care for artists. We need to have long game thinking. 2026 is going to reward the folks that were clear and paced this year. So speaking of 2026, inside the Glory Collective on Patreon, we're starting a 30-day 2026 art strategy challenge. Let's go. If you want to walk into 2026 with clarity and not be confused about your direction, where you're going, if you want that structure and you don't want to be stressed and jumbled and all over the place, and you want to be intentional and directional and no chaos, no chaoticness going around, I want you guys to come meet me in the Glory Collective on Patreon. Now, I have 3 different, so listen really carefully if you guys are considering joining the Glory Collective. So we have Starting Glory, which is the first tier, Building Glory, the second tier, and Mastering Glory, which is the third tier. Now, Starting Glory kind of eases you in, okay? It's guided reflections from myself and kind of like those pre-thoughts before these videos happen. But they come along with worksheets that allow you to apply your practice or your collecting journey to the video. So they're video guides. Starting Glory is for you to take the video that you're watching on YouTube to another level and apply it to your personal life. Now, Building Glory is where your learning labs are. It's where your tools are, your frameworks are, your additional voice notes, everything you need to apply the work. I mean, honestly, in Building Glory, it is like this self-guided consulting, right? It's as if I'm consulting you, but not personally. I think Building Glory is a really great place to be. Now, if we talk about Mastering Glory, that's when you're getting into the one-on-one sessions where we build your next steps together. So that is, if you just need to rewrite your artist statement, if you need someone to critique your artwork, if you want us to come up with a plan for what your career could look like for the next 2 years, and then you need someone coaching you to reach those milestones, that's what that Mastering Glory is about. We meet one-on-one once a month, and it gives us time to work through the things that you're working through, and it allows me to be a thinking partner with you and also a guide. So if you want to take 2026 seriously, meet me in the Glory Collective. The link is in the description, but also as I'm talking, guys, y'all should see it popping up as a QR code on the screen, just in case you're watching it on the television. But even if you're not watching it on television, if you watch it on your phone, if you just kind of screenshot the video and you hold down on the QR code, if you're on an iPhone, I don't know about the other phones, but if you're on an iPhone and you hold down on the QR code after you screenshot it, it's gonna give you to click the link and it'll bring you to the Patreon. So thank y'all for being here. I wasn't even supposed to make this video. I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving with the family, my husband, my baby girl, my mom, my dad. They're all coming in. We're hosting Thanksgiving this year. So I'm trying to get the house together. And, you know, we also have some guests staying the night. But I had to really just pop in and talk about this a little bit with y'all because it was just too big. I mean, $236 million, we're talking about that. We're talking about that. Tell me in the comments, what questions do y'all have? What do y'all think? What are your thoughts? And I want y'all to always remember that glory is a moment. And I think what we talked about today is almost an embodiment of what we talk about all the time. Because in order to get to the glory, you need the story, okay? In order to get to the glory, you need the story. And there was no $236 million without the story of this artwork. So always remember, story first, glory later. I'll see y'all next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Peace.